Hi, my name is Justin DeRoy, and you are listening to Movie Fan Geek Out. Alright, brief intro for the show if you never listened. Basically, me and sometimes co-host, this week couldn't get my co-host in for the show recording. We'll take popular movie news topics, from the week, and we'll discuss them and stuff like that, and tell you what we think about them and whatnot. And then we wrap the show with a suggestion of movies for you to watch. So anyway, that's the show, and we'll go ahead and get started. First off, we'll start off with just because Comic-Con happened recently. Just a brief overview of what was announced during Comic-Con. We'll go ahead with DC side of the Comic-Con news, and wasn't really any super big reveals, and stuff like that, but we did, at least if you're at Comic-Con, not for us on the internet, and believe me, I've tried hard to get you the footage that was shown, but it's all been taken down. But I did actually get to see some stills from it, and from what I could see, you do get to see that Batman is going to have at least similar to the mech suit that he uses in the actual graphic novel, of Dark Knight Returns, which is actually where the whole famous Superman versus Batman fight comes from. So there's going to be a very similar outfit that he's going to get to wear in the movie. It looks like, from the comic book. And then also, I actually will have a photo of this for you. We get to get our first look at Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Personally, I think the costume for me looks really good. I thought it's a very nice adaptation from the comic books. I think they took what we know from the comic books and they modernized and tweaked it to make it look cool for the movie. And not really completely change it too much. Besides that, though, I don't really feel like Gal Gadot fills the costume too well. I really would have liked to see someone else, like someone actually female actress that actually has, some experience in the action role. But who knows? I could still end up liking her in the movie. That, like I said, the costume does, though, look spot on. I thought it looked really good. Then switching sides to Marvel, we got a bunch of reveals with there's the whole interactive poster that came out where they revealed different segments. I'll give you a link for that one too. I wasn't completely wowed by it. Like, you obviously get the sense like, oh, they're gonna be finding like a swarm of Ultron bots and stuff like that. It's like, and then they're gonna be in some deep shit. I've heard there was like some footage of that as well. Like, of course, that's more stuff we didn't get to see. But then besides that, also Marvel-wise, they announced another cast member to play the character Yellow Jacket. But I know I've heard that Yellow Jacket was it's a alter ego of Hank Pym, but again, like how in this one Ant-Man isn't going to be Hank Pym, he's going to actually be the next rendition of Ant-Man. They also have a different person playing Yellow Jacket. I don't know much about this character from the actual comic books, but Corey Stoll is the actor who's going to be playing the Yellow Jacket. Don't know how big of a role this might be. It might be fairly minor, might be actually pretty big. But yeah. Minor kind of news, and this one was just very low on the radar apparently, but there was also test footage shown of a Deadpool movie where it's just like a short little like CGI scene thrown together. And the thing that I think that fans were really particularly happy about was that Ryan Reynolds actually voiced Deadpool in this test footage. So it may be like revitalizing some of those rumors and hopes dreams that people have of a real Deadpool movie coming out. And I'm not like a super big fan of this character, but I've learned more and more about him over the years. Like if I've heard like how much people really would love to see the movie, and hopefully have everything erased that was in the Wolverine Origins film of this character and completely redone for the movie. And I can tell you, from what I know, they did botch that Deadpool up pretty bad in Wolverine. So I agree with everyone. I'd like to see them revitalize the character and do it right, and his own movie. So here's wishing luck, for Ryan Reynolds and this character in general. That hopefully maybe they get this chance, to make the movie and do it right. Oh yeah, and then now moving on outside like comic book news. Of course, we already knew, but that Legendary was obviously planning on doing the sequel for Godzilla. That was pretty much announced, I think, almost right after the movie had come out. But now we know that they are going to try to work in some of the classic monsters, like Mothra and Rodan and whatnot. That's pretty cool. I've been wondering about that, if they're going to actually work in classic, characters or monsters into this new reboot. So I think it's pretty cool. I kind of thought they feel like those characters were too cheesy for it, but I'd be excited to see them in there. And then it's been announced that there's going to be still sort of Legendary news, but it's actually Universal, but they're now the same company because they're kind of conglomerate now. But Universal announced that there's going to be kind of like, I guess, a King Kong prequel called Skull Island, where it gives an origin story of King Kong, which, I don't know, that sounds pretty cool, actually. It's not been done before. No one knows much of his origin, or like really even much about where he comes from, General Skull Island. So that'd be really neat to get a good take on like what the whole origin of is, not only King Kong but this mysterious island. And then being that like I said, Universal and Legendary are now part of the same company, everyone's wondering, does this mean if they're going to make more King Kong films, will we get King Kong versus Godzilla? And I say, sounds kick-ass, but I'm hoping this means also that they're planning on supersizing King Kong, because as everyone's been arguing, King Kong, compared to the new Godzilla, probably comes up to King Kong Shin. Maybe not even that, because he made this King Kong like the biggest out of any King Kong there's been. So it's unlikely to be a very good match at King Kong's current stature. So I'm hoping they plan on making him bigger. Anyway, that's about it that I have for the Comic-Con news. I personally, if I was going to say what my favorite one that I've seen listed, didn't know because I didn't get to go, obviously, because it's San Diego. I'm in here in Arizona, but I'd say the test footage I got to see, because you get to see little clips, not the whole thing of the what they showed at Comic-Con of the Batman v Superman, and the costume that they show of Ben Affleck in this like mech suit, like gearing up to fight Superman, looked pretty cool. So for me, I thought was my favorites. So I'd say DC probably took away for me as number one at Comic-Con. Now moving on to still comic book news, but just not Comic-Con news. Not necessarily really a movie news either, though, because it's not really officially tied in with any actual movie news, but news is that the writer for the original Fight Club graphic novel is planning on now doing a sequel that's going to be coming out soon. That basically the story is that the story revolving around this graphic novel is, it's gonna, I believe it's supposed to be like 10 years in the future, and the main character is now, he's married to the one chick or whatever that he is seeing in the first one, and they had a kid and stuff like that, but anyway, but I guess their lives have become kind of mundane, now without Tyler Durden's, alter ego, like, in the mix and stuff like that. And I guess, Marla, I guess I've picked up, she's kind of aching for, that wild man she fell in love with, and apparently she messes with, her husband's, psych meds, and it causes him to kind of relapse, and he starts, becoming Tyler Durden again, so like that, at least, he switches off, like, how he had, like, he would sometimes be him, and sometimes he'd switch to his alter ego, and stuff like that, and then you'll get to be re-immersed in, like, his whole Fight Club, world, and stuff like that, and see what's happened with that since he's been gone from it, and not just that, but then also the evolution of what's become of Project Mayhem, and how that's also gone on without him. So, the graphic novel itself sounds cool, but, now the speculation is, like, if there's going to be a sequel for the graphic novel, this probably means, or at least fans will want to hope that this might mean they're now going to have a sequel to the movie as well. So that sounds super cool for me. But at the same time, the whole novelty of the first film is kind of gone now, because you already know, like, well, who Tyler Durden is, and it's really the alter ego of the main character. So that's kind of gone now. But I feel like you get they turn into a movie, maybe in the graphic novel, they'll find a way to kind of work in, like, some new twist, now that they've already, you already know the whole story. The guy's, he's got split personality and stuff like that, and it's freaking havoc on his life. So, so yeah, I think they'll find a way to at least make some new twists to keep something else interesting involved in the story. But regardless, I think it'd be an awesome idea to see them, like, bring back these characters and do something brand new with it, and do a whole new movie. Anyway, enough of that. We're done with movie news topics. So now I am going to finish up for you with a movie suggestion. And I decided, kind of themed it as B-movie suggestion. B-movies, are the movies that often are, described as terrible movies with actors you've never heard of and just god-awful. But, oftentimes, so there's these great cult followings along these, these B films and stuff like that. They find an audience and stuff like that people are able to enjoy them. So I picked up one that I got to see a while ago that is actually pretty entertaining, that I really like. It's called Hobo with the Shotgun, starring Rutger Hauer. Oh god, I've totally butchered his name. Rutger Hauer, I think. For those of you that might follow this guy's career, you might best know him. Of course, he was one of the main stars in Blade Runner. He played, like, the evil cyborg or something like that, or not cyborg, but android. Anyway, so yeah, he's the main star in this film, and basically the story is kind of like the title suggests it's about a hobo with a shotgun, but give you a little more subtext than that. Obviously, there's this hobo. He basically wanders into town, and he sees that it's riddled with crime, stuff like that, and people doing drugs, and there's prostitution and stuff like that. And he comes subject to some of the, the violence and crime, stuff like that. And he decides, he's going to stand up for himself and also like all these people in this horribly corrupt town. And he decides to pick up a shotgun, and he basically deals his own justice. And they have this like terrible tagline for this movie that's actually as delivering justice one shell at a time. And they have this great line at the very end of the film that actually always just makes me just giggle when I hear it. But there's this scene at the very end of the movie. He's got the shotgun and he's looking down at the main villain. He's like, you and me, we're going to hell, and you're riding shotgun. And then, he goes, blows the guy away. But great bad film, I guess. Fun to watch. It's so terrible it's good kind of flick. But yeah, there's your movie suggestion for a week, and that would end it for us now. So thanks for listening, and hope you tune again next week. Goodbye.